Hi everybody, hi every spirit, welcome very much to my YouTube channel. Esoteric Cloud Surfer here, ready to talk about spirituality and astrology. Thank you very much for watching. Your support is greatly appreciated. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy the content and use the links down below to know more about me, my content and my spirituality and astrology services. So today we're talking about a very important spiritual concept, which is you are always responsible even in situations where you were not at fault. Because a spiritual fact is that you are the creator, you're not the creation. So you actively, consciously and subconsciously and unconsciously, you create all the scenarios that you participate, that you go through. Now, this might sound very weird because we have things like really bad things like rape or being bullied in school, right? And most people struggle with this concept that you create all of your scenarios because nobody wants to go through those bad things, which is true. But that it's a human logical concept, and we are talking about spirits. And if you look around in this huge, beautiful world, we as humans, spirits in human bodies, we are the only ones that can distinguish good from evil, right? So we have to recognize that our spirits in this realm are not as logical. So they don't know what's good or bad. They only know experience. So in order for your spirit to experience certain things, sometimes they have to go through ways that for your spirit it's just what it is, literally, but for you can have the good or the bad connotation. Let's give a very clear example. Imagine somebody got ran over by a bus. They didn't die, they just got hurt, they spent a couple days in the hospital, everything was fine in the end. Like, they didn't want to get ran over by a bus, by a truck. Nobody wants to. Only if you're trying to scam for insurance, right? But their spirit wanted to go through an experience, a thought, a feeling, an imagination, a vision, and in the spirit's perspective, that event was the necessary event to go through that experience. So even though you logically, consciously don't want to go through being run over by a truck, that person or that example still did. And how is that possible? That person was not the driver. That person was maybe just crossing the street. They were not at fault, right? Even if, imagine they passed through on the crosswalk, the sign was red, whatever. So the bus driver was at fault. They were the ones that did not comply with the traffic rules and societal rules of stopping in the red light, stopping when somebody is going on the crosswalk. But as a spirit, not only are you able to create, you are also able to associate and attract. Mostly you create. You're always creating, right? But in a lot of circumstances, more times than not, you associate yourself with spirits that are already going in a certain way, and then you go that way. That's called being guilty by association. Because you, in this specific example of being run over by a truck, you were not at fault because you followed the rules, but you associated yourself, spiritually speaking, with certain spirits that were going that way, and you, the one that got run over by the bus, and the bus driver spirit were in the same space. You experienced the same thing: hurtfulness, worry, stressing, roller coaster type situation, getting your life in danger, getting somebody else's life in danger, right? You and the bus driver spirit were in the same space. So the bus driver were at fault, but you were also responsible by the event because your spirit associated with the spirit of the bus driver and you went down the same alleyway, right? That's why it's so important to be aware of what spaces you are in and the things that you do, see, the places you go to, the people that you hang out with, the content and the food that you consume. And it's very important. The most important thing you can do in your life is understand what your life, what the things that you do and how you do them, what spaces you are in, where do you travel when you live your life, basically. And that's why astrology is important and tarot is important. So because that allows you to know what spaces you are in spiritually, because you might have the perfect day, but your spirit and your mind are traveling somewhere else, somewhere dark. And you find in that dark space, quote unquote, because dark doesn't mean bad, just for dramatic events in the video, right? What did your spirit, what did your mind found in there? Or what did your spirit riding your mind found in that dark space? The bus driver spirit. And they got along and created that scenario. So even though you were not at fault, in that, not you, random example, even though that person was not at fault by being ran over by a bus, they were responsible because they participated in the creation of the event, or the event was already created and they hopped in the spaceship. That's for example, when people die in a car crash, imagine they were not driving, or not died, they got hurt, really hurt, but they weren't the ones driving, right? It wasn't their fault, but they were responsible for it as well, because they participated and helped creating that scenario. And you are always responsible, more or less, for the things that you create and experience. Always, even things down to rape, right? Rape is really bad, right? But people that go through rape, especially the victims, they wanted to experience something deep, a sexual desire, but in a weird situation. That was the event that they created. Yes, it's not good. It's not. But it is, like, there is a reason why those people were victim of rape and not other person or other people that were not. Because the person that was victim of that super bad event, they were responsible for that happening as well. They were not at fault. The rapist is at fault. They were the bad guys, but somebody or the victim helped that event come to fruition. And a lot of these bad scenarios happen when your spirit wants to experience something but you don't do it. So your spirit accumulates the desire and accumulates and accumulates and accumulates and accumulates until it accumulated so much that it creates the deepest, strongest, most impactful and most transformative scenario. And that's where this bad thing, bro, I'm telling you, it is. So sometimes you have the perfect, especially with women and girls, because you guys are the most powerful at attracting and maintaining things. So sometimes you might be the perfect girl with a super stable life, super calm life, rich, pretty, attractive, and you can manifest the most bullshit shit because you weren't able to be yourself. You didn't allow yourself to express a certain idea, so you're gonna be forced to go into a scenario where you have to go through that. And the more you avoid it, the more your spirit will accumulate it. And if you don't do it, the universe will, or you will attract a random type of spirit to fulfill that space. And it's gonna be bad, right? But the main point of this video is for you to understand that you are always responsible for the events that happen in your life. And it's very important for you to be aware of the spaces that you are in, because those bad events really come from a blind spot if you are not into spirituality, if you are not into astrology or tarot, because you don't know your space. If you're only using a conscious level of intelligence, there is no way you know why you go through those bad situations. And this actually was one of the main reasons why I got into spirituality, because I was tired of people around me, and me as well, not knowing why the fuck things were happening. Because it made no sense. Because it's not logic that is creating these events. It's your spirit. And your spirit, it's not logical. Your spirit is not sensical. It creates logic. It makes sense. So logic and sense is an aftermath of your spiritual activity. So we must use other tools and logic to understand what spaces are we in and what can we or are already creating in that space. Okay? So if you are aware that you're going down a aggressive, transformative, depressive alleyway, spiritually speaking, you know that you might create bad circumstances or bad scenarios. And keep in mind, if you are happy-go-lucky, you will also create these bad scenarios because you're not being responsible or intentionful enough, you know? So if you are aware of the space that you are in, you can change. You can avoid certain things. Maybe, imagine you have to go drive, but you are aware that you are in a more negative or aggressive or too happy-go-lucky state. So once you get in the car, you realize, okay, I'm in this space, let me pay even more attention to the road. And you might just dodge a truck coming in your way. Because you built the scenario with the truck driver as well, the truck was coming your way, but because in the last moments you were aware of the circumstance, you are able to dodge it. Bro, this is real shit. Bro, this is real powerful, and it's really important for you to be aware of yourself and the space that you are in. And once again, you are not perfect, nobody is. So sometimes you will not be aware of these things. Sometimes these things will slip right across front of you, and you'll not be able to understand that thing until it's done. But that's why we go through things. That's why we live, to learn. And sometimes it's painful to understand that we took part. We were responsible for something that was bad for us. But that's also a very important lesson. Because sometimes if something is not that deep, you will not pay attention to it. You will not go through the whole ride and the whole road. You'll get halfway through because you're not so invested, you know? And if you do what you are supposed to do, spiritually speaking, you will have way less problems in your life. I guarantee you. Because most bad things, like I said earlier, it's really important for you to notice, is your spirit being unsatisfied. And then it must create these extreme scenarios to satisfy itself. Bro, I guarantee you, this is real shit. So, it's very important for you to do or get some tarot readings, astrology readings, so you know where are you located spiritually and what circumstances you are creating, attracting, or associating yourself with. And always remember, you are the creator, not the creation, and you are responsible 10%, 30%, 80%, but you are always responsible of the things that you go through that happen in your life. You know what I'm saying? Thank you very much for watching. Always remember about your power. And remember to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Use the links down below to know more about me, my services, and other forms of my content. And I wish you the best thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions. A whole bunch of individuality, creativity, and responsibility as well. Remember to believe in yourself, in all possibilities, and that the best way to be is to be your goddamn self. Till the next time, see you soon. This is Cloud Surfer, surfing out.